Welcome back to another episode of Twin Tuesday. Today we're going to be talking about the unresolved mystery of the missing Millbrook twins. Before we get onto that, guys, as you know, we are on our road to 100 subscribers. So please make sure you subscribe to this channel for me and you also give this video a thumbs up. So I'm going to try and tell you guys the case of the Millbrook twins in 10 minutes. So if I can get a clock on here, I'm going to put a clock on. So today, as I told you, we are talking about the unresolved mystery of the missing Millbrook twins. So the Millbrook twins are Danette and Jeanette Millbrook. They are from America, Augusta, Georgia, I believe. And they went missing on March 18th, 1990. From the time this video comes to you, it will be a little bit over a week until it marks 31 years since the Millbrook twins have been missing. And unfortunately, the twins are still missing to this day. So let's start with what the twins were like, okay? So they were teenagers. At the time of their disappearance, they were 15, a month shy of their 16th birthday. They were unidentical twins. And, you know, they were seen as, you know, quite good, nice, friendly. They were not known for getting into trouble. They weren't troublemakers, anything like that. And it didn't seem as if there were any particular issues in the household that the parents may have thought were motive for their kids to run away. So really, seemingly, there isn't any motive for why the twins disappeared. And that's what makes it all so much of a mystery. So let's start on the day of the disappearance. So the day started off basically kind of normal. It was a normal Sunday for their family in Augusta, Georgia. They all went to church together. And then after church, the twins went to like a takeaway restaurant to get some food. And then when they returned home to their mum, they basically said that a white van had been following them. But when their mum went outside to go and have a look, she didn't see a white van. So, you know, the twins went back into the house. You know, everything was seemingly normal. Now, the twins then had to go to their godfather's house so that they could get bus fare to go to school the next week. So basically, they rode the public bus to school and they basically needed fare so that they could go to school over the next week. So they went to their godfather's house to get some money for the bus. They got money. It wasn't more than $20, I believe. And then after they left their godfather's house, they made 2 more stops. So the first stop they made was at their aunt's house. They went to go see their cousin. They spent a little bit of time there, but as they were at their cousin's house, it was getting a little bit darker. Sorry, I should have said at the beginning, the time they left their family home to go to their godfather's house was around 3 p.m. So at this point of the story where we're at the cousins, time has moved on a little bit. And so it started to get a little bit darker and they asked their cousin if she would walk with them home. But their aunt basically said it was too late for the cousin to walk with them home. So the twins, they set off. Now, on the way home, they then passed their older sister's house. So they stopped in with their older sister. They saw her for a bit. And they also asked her if she could walk with them home. And she couldn't because she wasn't in the position to, as she had just had a baby. So she physically couldn't go with them and walk with them back, you know. So the twins left and continued to make their way home. And the last stop they made was then at the convenience store where they went in and bought some snacks. That was the last time Danette and Jeanette Millbrook was seen. It was at the convenience store by a clerk who had served them regularly, so she knew who they were. And she had said that basically they were acting perfectly normal that day. And it wasn't like they loaded up on lots of snacks. If, for example, you know, you go to the corner shop, you may just get a chocolate bar and a fizzy drink. It was something quick and easy that they could eat right there in that moment. And then they left. As soon as they left that convenience store, everything we know about Danette and Jeanette Millbrook ends there. It goes cold. Nothing is known. The twins have disappeared. So obviously the twins haven't returned home and the mum has called the police to report that her twins are missing. And basically, you know, the usual police thing, you can't file a missing persons report until it's been 24 hours, etc. And then after the 24 hours, the official report that the twins were missing was filed. Now, what goes on with the actual case of the twins and the investigation of the twins has a huge amount of discrepancies. And there's a lot of reasons why. One, I would like to say maybe race, class, a lot of things that play into why their investigation had so many discrepancies and just overall was not done well. So little is known in what happened for the first investigation of the Millbrook twins and their disappearance. The few things we do know is that the initial police report that was filed, the police actually recorded their names wrong on the report. So misspelt their surname Millbrook and also spelt Jeanette's name wrong. Now, the parents and the family did let the police know this is wrong, the names are wrong. However, the police never corrected the wrongly named reports. The second thing we know about the initial investigation was that the investigators on this particular investigation were painting the narrative that the twins were runaways. There was no actual founding evidence that the twins were runaways, but unfortunately in America, in the South at that time, and I mean still at this time, you know, there's a lot of racial tension. And not only is there racial tension, there is this consistent thread and narrative that we have, especially in the Western world, that children of color can't be victims, that they're more seen as perpetrators, okay? So rather than having something done to them, there's a narrative that they do things to others. And so unfortunately, that narrative was what was working against the investigation of the missing Millbrook twins. So the police were painting this narrative that the twins had run away. However, they didn't have any hardcore evidence, and so the actual search for the twins was very lackluster. And in fact, after a year and 1 month of the investigation, the Sheriff County decided to actually close the case. So after a year and 1 month with no leads, well, we don't know if there's no leads, but clearly there has been no leads, they decided to shut the case. And the reason why the police decided to shut the case was that they basically said that at this stage, so now a year, 1 month on, the twins would be 17 years old. And at 17 years old, basically, it's not like they're an adult, but I guess they have some sort of legal autonomy over themselves. And so even if the police had found them, the police wouldn't be able to compel them to come back home because they would no longer be seen as minors. And for me, that isn't a good enough reason to close a missing persons report, especially when the person went missing was at 15 and now you're saying, okay, they're 17, so we're going to close the case, we're no longer looking for them. That was like red flag number one, but there's a lot of red flags to go through, okay? And so as a result of them closing the case, the twins were actually taken off the National Registry of Missing Children. And this was as a result of the case being closed. So now you're a year and 1 month later, the family has no leads, nothing to go off, absolutely no idea where the twins are, and the case is closed. Now, the twins had a younger sister. In fact, I believe they were 2 of 8 siblings. And the twins had a younger sister named Chantal, and she was 12 years old at the time of the twins going missing. And as she got older, she did not stop in her relentless pursuit into finding her missing twin sisters. So although the police had closed the case, Chantal continued to fight this. So she goes on record as saying that even in like 2004, she was consistently calling their Sheriff County headquarters. I guess it was like a Sheriff County, and I'm not well versed in the American policing system to know all the differences, so I'm just going to call it the police station, just for the English folk, because we understand that a little bit better. So she was continuously calling the police station and was basically like, you know, you need to open the case, you need to open the case, you need to open the case, you need to reopen the case. Thankfully, in 2013, even though I say thankfully, that's 9 years later, a new sheriff took over the sheriff's station, police station, and listened to Chantal's pleas and decided to reopen the case of the Millbrook twins. Now, I believe his name was Sheriff Roundtree, and he apologized and said that their sheriff's station had done a massive disservice to the Millbrook twins and the families in the search for the Millbrook twins. And in fact, he also admitted that the original filing and the case filings of the Millbrook twins was actually missing. So it was not, they were not able to locate it in the actual station. And for some reason, this meant that they were taken off the system. And that for me is the second red flag. It is horrifically suspicious that the sheriff's station, the police, were very unwilling to help in this case. And once again, I don't know if it contributes to the narrative of thinking, okay, that these are just runaways, so who cares? But still, the parents wanted to find them and they were minors. So for me, there was a particular duty that the police officers and the sheriff should have had in trying to find the Millbrook twins, but they didn't. Now, we then fast forward to 2017. Apologies, there are a lot of fast forwards, but you have to understand that during these wealths of time, not much was happening with the case. There were no leads, there was no reports, there was no evidence, there was nothing for anyone to do really at that point. And that was all because the initial investigation was just so badly conducted that there was not much to really work on or work with. However, we get to 2017, a new podcast starts called The Full Line, and they've decided to make their first series all about the case of the missing Millbrook twins. Now, because of that, it gained a lot of notoriety, and also a lot of people were interested in what happened to them and what was going on and why their case was handled that way and why there were so many discrepancies. The producers of the podcast had such a vested interest after they had done their episodes of the Millbrook twins that they actually decided to get involved. And what they did was actually raise a $10,000 reward for anybody who knew anything, saw anything, or could help with finding the Millbrook twins. But they were not getting anyone coming forward. So what they did actually was get a billboard to advertise a reward to help them find the Millbrook twins. Now, obviously, I think the family were very happy that these other people stepped in and were trying to help and trying to shed more attention to it, and it definitely gained a lot of attention. So they got a lot of news attention, media outlets were starting to pay attention, and it actually caught the attention of a TV channel called Oxygen in America, and they came out with a 2-hour investigative special about the Millbrook twins, trying to see if they could put some pieces of a puzzle together as to what happened to the Millbrook twins, and hopefully once again raise awareness. I believe that documentary came out in 2019. It was 2 hours on Oxygen. The family members helped them and they were on it as well as investigators, so many different things. Unfortunately, as the other attempts have proven, not much was discovered in the disappearance of the twins. But what we did find out was more about the investigators who were handling the first investigation. So one investigator on that team for the initial investigation basically said that he received a phone call basically from a juvenile case officer saying that the twins had been found, and that was one of the reasons why he felt like closing the case was the right thing. They were also told that a phone call was given to the National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children, basically saying the twins were found, so to take them off that register. And so those were like contributing factors that added to the case. Now for me, that's like a third red flag, because it seems like, okay, all these phone calls are happening, however, what the information they're giving isn't true because the twins haven't been found. And also, who is on the other line? Who are these people that are actually calling? Because no names are given. It's always like, oh, somebody said and somebody said. And so that once again just added to the whole shadiness of the situation. And so it was very unfortunate. But the sister Chantal still runs a Facebook page actively now, in hope that we will find her missing sisters. Now, obviously, with a case like this comes a wealth of theories about what exactly has happened to the Millbrook twins. And so I'm going to go through quickly a few of the theories that are out there about what's happened with the disappearance. I do want to say, obviously, these are theories. This is not what's happened. These are just what people are putting forward as thoughts and ideas as to maybe what's happened to them. So please let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you believe any of the theories, or do you just think you don't know what to think? Like, let me know, okay? A body of a deceased girl who they believe was a black girl, which Danette and Jeanette were black, and but the body was very, I think, badly decomposed at the time. I believe they found the body in 1993, and they said the body could have been where they found the body from between 1990 and 1992. So the body at that point was quite badly decomposed. So what the police station did like basically try to do a facial reconstruction and basically say, we think this is what this person looks like. If you think this is your relative or someone you know, please come forward. And the family looked at the facial reconstruction and thought it really looked like Jeanette. However, when they tried to go forward to put forward their DNA and be like, hey, like, this could be Jeanette. The police station back basically said, no way, no, it's not going to be her, so just don't even bother. Theory is focusing on the twins' dad, John Millbrook. And basically, the theory about the dad is an accumulation of things. It is an accumulation of things the family have said, things the Oxygen documentary put out, and then also from some allegations made by a third party, by this man named Ernest. So I'll just kind of like distill all of those things and say what the theory is. Basically, the dad apparently had no interest in looking for the twins or finding the twins when they went missing. And the family thought it was strange. And in fact, they said he was actively discouraging the mother for looking for the twins, basically. And the family just always thought that was strange, thing which I think made people think, oh, okay, maybe the father had something to do with it. It's all because of the allegations that came from one man named Ernest, who said that John Millbrook knew what happened to the twins, and because he knew what happened to the twins, it drove John crazy. And so he didn't say that John killed the twins, just that he knew what had happened to the twins. Obviously, these claims are unfounded. We don't know these things to be true, but this was just one of the contributing factors to the theory that maybe the dad had something to do with the missing twins. So yeah, so that's kind of where we are now. There's a lot of theories, but the twins are still missing, and it is very much an unresolved case.